All right, friends, let's try this one more time. How you doing today? Aaron here, bringing your daily horoscope for Sunday Fun Day, the 31st of May, 2020. Okay, evidently I just put this out a few minutes ago or an hour ago or something, and something was going bad with the audio. So I've made some adjustments. We'll try it again. All right, first we don't succeed, try again. So where are we today? We've got the moon in the later degrees of Virgo. Okay, we are creating a trine to Jupiter, a trine to Pluto. Early in the morning. This is also going to happen late on Saturday evening, depending on where you're at around the world. Okay, so the moon in Virgo is precise and focused. Our emotional need is about the work that we're putting in. Okay, it's about what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to. This is extremely important, as Virgo holds the balancing scales of Libra. Okay, so what we're saying yes to goes into this cup of the scales. Okay, what we're saying no to goes into this cup to balance out the scales. And just like the Egyptians, does our heart weigh as light as a feather? Where does this balance out? Okay, now we're in this interesting times as far as information is concerned. Okay, with Neptune being home in Pisces right now, Mars aggressively moving forward in Pisces. Okay, we do have a sense of the media being confusing. The confusing black hole. What is the black hole? It's something that is absorbing all of matter. We don't know what's on the other side of this black hole. We don't know really what is truthful, what is not. Like I talked about here on Saturday's horoscope about the Little Mermaid and the messenger, this bird saying the dinglehopper, the fork, is a hairbrush. And we take this and we run with it, and sometimes we don't see the bigger picture, or we don't know the bigger picture until later on when we're brought out of our environment and we see another environment where people are doing something very differently. Okay, now there's a lot going on right now. I do want to talk about the riots just briefly, the George Floyd aspects that are going on. Peaceful protests, riots. I'm a huge believer, my friends. Okay, I'm a huge fan of quantum physics and the law of attraction, right? And there's a Mother Teresa quote: I will go to any pro-peace rally, but I will never go to an anti-war rally. Why is that? You're pro something versus anti something. The path of least resistance, going towards something, right? So it's important that we take our actions right now and move toward a place of balance, toward a place of pro-peace. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to lecture people how to live. I'm just giving information. That's what this channel is all about, is sharing information to empower us. That's what I love about astrology, is it's very empowering, right? And I want to show and share a little bit of stuff beyond this daily horoscope, but a bigger overall picture. I mean, this is Sunday, so why not a little Sunday sermon, right? Now, we had seen in 1960s Pluto conjunct Uranus. Okay, this had to deal a lot with the race wars that was going on. Okay, here in Detroit especially, 1964, 1967, the 67 riots. I mean, it was very famous. It ruined our city. It made people afraid to come to Detroit. And I have talked to a handful of I know a lot of police officers, I know a lot of people in the area, and it's just like, it was very different from what the media says it is. What was happening here at the times was very different from what the media says. And just like I just seen this picture of the New York Times or New York Post, and here's two rednecks with guns in front of a liquor store or a tobacco store. And this was the headline of the New York Times, New York Post: rednecks out front of convenience store protecting against the riots. There's another photo of that's not the New York Times or New York Post, and it's a wider image, and it shows two white guys standing next to two black guys, all four of them holding guns protecting this, right? We're only shown what they want us to see. This channel you're not going to ever see me brushing my teeth on this channel. You know what I mean? You're only going to see me talking about the things that I want to talk about, and that's primarily astrology and useful knowledge that we can live a happy, healthy existence, sustainable life for ourselves, right? And sharing that knowledge. So anyway, people we're only getting, and this is, the media is paid. And I know this so hard because I work in this industry, and it's like I get paid to work on these jobs. This is a payment, and right now the news more than ever is pitting. This is a Kansas City shuffle is what we call this, or the magician, the turn of hand, or, it's like, look over here, but what you don't see is my other hand doing something, the sleight, something, so it's like we have this race thing going on. Now in 1967, we had this Pluto-Uranus conjunction over in Scorpio, all right? And then in 2016, we have Pluto squaring Uranus in Aries, okay? Now Uranus has moved into Taurus now, right? In the past year and a half or so, 2 years, as it tiptoed back and forth on the line here. But this is important stuff, because Aries is about what? This is about self. Pluto's about transformation, and this is about government. The big picture, transformation of government and the breakthrough of self. When Uranus was here in Aries, we have a lot of self-made individuals over this 8 years, which we never thought was going to be possible, even with Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, self-made YouTubers becoming very famous celebrities. When Uranus entered Taurus, the earth sign, this is much more difficult. When Uranus is here in the fire sign of Aries, again, explosion of self. But this is also, do I need permission to be myself? From the authority, a change of authority, right? So what had started here in the 1960s, I think it was over here, okay, comes full circle over here in this square saying, this is part of the race war. Am I allowed to be myself? Am I allowed to be a black person in America? Am I allowed to be an Asian person in America? Am I allowed to be whatever country, wherever? Okay, that's not my thing. I'm just sharing this information. What we have now, I will be honest, this is different. This is Saturn square Uranus. What is Saturn? Saturn is the authority. Okay, this is really important because we're being slightly misled here. Not saying this is extremely important, as I don't, I want to come across right. This is a terrible injustice. What's going on here is terrible. Period. But now we're being slightly manipulated, even further so, to believing that this is something of race. And I can look at the astrology and say it's more than just black and white or whatever race war is going. And part of this is that Neptune black hole in the media, okay, wanting to confuse us, people who watch the news, people who are trying to figure out what's going on in life. All right. So right now we have an issue with authority. This is not about a privilege of species, a race. It's more than that. And we're focusing on that to take away from the bigger picture. The media is focusing on that to take away from a bigger picture. Same in 2016, there was a guy, same very similar thing happened to him. He called the police on himself. Okay, called the police on himself because it was Tony Timpa down in Dallas, Texas, I believe. Okay, called the police on himself. Mental issues going on. I haven't taken my medication. I need help. I'm on drugs. Whatever. Cops did the exact same thing. Put the knee in his back, cuffed his feet together, and the guy said, "You're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me." He's a white guy, and he died. By the time they loaded him in, the gurney, you can find this out, it was August of 2016. By the time they loaded him on the gurney and put him in the back of the ambulance, the paramedic looked at him and said to the cop, and the cop's laughing, saying, "I hope I didn't kill the guy." Laughing. And then, "Come on, Tony, wake up. It's time to get some pancakes and waffles. We're going to take you to school now." And laughing, saying, "I hope I didn't kill him." The paramedic looks at him and says, "The guy's dead." Gives him a dirty look. So it's like we see these things happen. This isn't about race. We can believe, it does have something to do with it, no question. But the bigger picture is about authority in general, the abuse of authority, okay? A vulgar display of power. Love that line. It's a vulgar display of power that we're dealing with. And then what media coverage is, and what, again, it's being separated and segregated so that we are pitting against each other. And in this little, the New York Times post versus the actual what happened, and seeing all four people together, the two white guys and the two black guys standing in front of this store to protect it with guns, they're saying this is what the people are afraid of. They're only showing half of this picture so that way people, the real government, you and I, are separated by race, separated by class. That's what the media wants. That's what the authority wants. Okay? But the truth is, that wider picture, it's the unity. It's the unity of us, of you and I, of every race, of every color, of every gender. Okay? We stand united. Something I say on this channel for a long time, hand in hand. We cross the river together. That flowing river can take us down in the undertow. The media is that flowing river. The authority is the flowing river. Okay? And that is a strong undertow, but together we link arms. Okay? And we push through. Together we can cross that. We can handle all of this. So this is a much bigger picture than what we're being shown. Okay? So that's a little bit of what I want to talk about here today. Let me come back here again. So the moon, early in the morning, feeding into Pluto and Jupiter. Again, we need to make decisions on how we choose to react on what we're doing with our lives, how we feel about how we feel. Obviously, this is our emotional moon, our emotional needs. And we need to discern. We need to make decisions on what is right and what is wrong according to us and how we feel. Not just following the masses, not just following the media, not just following, the sheeple that are saying and doing whatever, and it's just regurgitated, we see it, it's like everybody's saying the same kind of stuff, and it's just like, okay, so we're not thinking for ourselves. And this is about think for yourself. Think for yourself. Question authority. This is a fun, and this is, coming right back here to those times. This is that, think for yourself, question authority. Throughout human history, our species has faced the frightening, terrorizing fact that we do not know who we are or where we're going in this ocean of chaos has been the authorities, the political, the religious, the educational authorities who are attempting to comfort us by giving us rules and order, regulations, informing in our minds their view of reality. To think for yourself, you must question authority and learn how to put yourself in a state of vulnerable, open-mindedness, confused vulnerability to inform yourself. And that, that's Timothy Leary, and that was from the 1970s, I believe. Okay, I don't actually know where that comes from, so I can't link something, but it's just a quote I've memorized from a long time ago, and I found it very powerful, and it's very relevant now. Right now, we have to think for ourselves and not just take whatever verbatim. The dingle hopper is just not a hairbrush. The media is not what we believe it to be. So what do we do? Where do we go? How do we make the right decisions? Because where we're going about is balance. Okay, the decisions that we're making as we move forward on this Sunday Fun Day. Okay, now we've got the moon moving into Libra. Okay, so every action and decision that we make here that's setting our hearts on fire, the practical decisions that we're making, how we choose to move forward, now comes into balance. Am I balancing this right? Is my heart going to weigh as light as a feather when I exit this planet? Did I make the right decisions? Am I karmically, making the right decisions? Not just for myself, but for the whole, for the large. This is Libra here. We want to be balanced. This is about all of us. This is the big picture. This isn't about one race or one gender or one individual or one circumstance. This is the big picture. And how do we create balance for everybody, right? How do we create this harmony here? And this balance being in a trine to Saturn, again, trine to the authority. It's like we have to recognize in ourselves that we are, in fact, the government, that we are the ones that gave the power to the authority, okay? That we are this authority. And this abuse of power needs to die, needs to transcend. Okay, we're going to see that happening this year. And again, we're going to have Saturn reconnecting with Jupiter right here at 0 degrees come December. Jupiter and Pluto are reconnect here in June. And then again later on in the year. Okay, so we're going to see major shifts happening with this abuse of power. And how are we karmically responsible? What we're putting out comes back to us, and there's that Martin Luther King quote of hate only gives more hate, and darkness is only more darkness, and voids the beautiful stars in the sky. And the only way to fight negativity or hate is with love. Okay, and we have to be the ones that are willing to do that. We can't be at a place where we're taking everything as face value. Okay, and now later in the day, as the moon comes across, is where we're going to be opposing Chiron. How do we heal this? How do we heal this part of ourselves? Or how do we heal this part that thinks it's just one thing? Or if we think that this is just about race. It's like it's not saying that it's not, but there's a lot more to the puzzle than just this one piece. That one piece is very relevant, but there's more. And if we're only thinking it just has to do with this one thing, my individuality, is it safe to be a whatever, a whoever, to be this, to be radical, to be queer, to be black, to be what, trans, to whatever? Am I allowed this freedom to be myself, to express myself? The answer is yes. Okay? The obvious answer is yes. And we just have to balance this life and balance this authority and figure out how to make it all make sense, because we're still diving here into questioning absolutely everything. We have to question everything and not just take the one piece of the puzzle, this one note, this one thing as the tell-all, And right now, Mercury being in the sign of Cancer, we're feeling a lot. Our thoughts and our feelings, with Venus being retrograde, we're reevaluating all of these things that we feel. The closer and closer the sun gets to Venus, they connect once every year and a half. They form this beautiful, I talked about it the other day, this flower of life. I'll have to find a proper YouTube video to show you, and I'll put it in a link. But we're highlighting all of these things are coming into alignment. All of these things are coming into focus right now. And it's how we're choosing to respond, how we're choosing to react, right? And how we want to move forward to create the balance in our lives that is necessary for a sustainable future. Because we ultimately, it's like if we're just a perspective, right now our perspective is that the cops are the bad guys, like the cops are enemies. Well, then that means who's going to want to be a cop? Who's going to want to take on the position that does want to uphold peace, uphold law, proper law, man's law, not just this individual law, but the law of the land, right? So if we're going to extremes and not carefully balancing things out, that there's nobody who's going to want to step up to be a proper good police officer. Because we are not going to be able to see the difference between a good police officer and a bad police officer. We're going to judge. So we have to find this balance. So this is a long-winded, different kind of astrology post. We got some work to do, my friends. We got some work to do. Whatever's going on in your city, in your town, stay safe. I hope everybody's staying safe. Aside from COVID, now we've got these riots going on, peaceful protests. Pro-peace rallies. Mother Teresa will never go to an anti-war rally because it's anti-against, path of least resistance. Go toward that path of least resistance, following your hearts, following the divine balance. Okay, what makes sense? And not taking, it's like our boss is, the authority, the boss is beating us up at work. We come home and we take it out on the wife, the kid, the dog, or the husband, the whatever, the roommate, the brother, the sister, the parent. It's like we're taking this energy and we're misusing it and guiding it and hitting something else. And this is saying, no, we are the ones that need to balance and change this. We need to find our own peace within ourselves, whether it's, taking that energy, transmuting it, transcending, forming this anger into positive energy to fuel us through meditation or through yoga, through exercise, breath work, anything that's going to be, we can turn that energy to be healthy. And that is the goal right now, is to turn this to positive, healthy energy, to be precise in what we want to do and how we move forward with this, and then ultimately think of what is going to be the balance, because we want our children's children to grow up in a peaceful world, you know. And how do we create that? It's up to us, right? So, happy Sunday, my friends. Enjoy the beautiful day. Hopefully the audio, I think I fixed the issue, so everything should be good now. Thank you as always. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.